Stars are whispering tales of old, planets spinning, stories bold. Life is dancing through the night, countless worlds in the starlight. Galaxies full of mystery, infinite in their history. Beyond our dreams and our sights, life blooms in the cosmic lights, dancing on the edge of space. Take me away, feeling the universal grace. In the dark our hearts ignite, life across the endless night. Nebulas with colors bright, birth new wonders in the light. Comets trail their sparkling tears, life endures through the years. In the silence of the void, every heartbeat is enjoyed. From the depths and to the heights, life expands through cosmic night. Dancing on the edge of space, and off we go, feeling the universal grace. In the dark our hearts ignite, life across the endless night. Dancing on the edge of space, and off we go, feeling the universal grace. In the dark our hearts ignite, life across the endless night.
Well, hey there. Hi there. Ho there. You're as welcome as can be. That sounds familiar. Hi, guys. How are you? Mark D'Antonio here. I actually didn't even give Daryl a call. I know I probably should have, but I wasn't sure I was going to stream until this very last moment. And I decided to do it. And I am just testing everything here because we did have an outage with the Sonoran scope that we're on now. This is the wide field system. We had a Viasat satellite router and a Starlink router plugged into each other. I didn't do it. The Viasat people did when they repaired the Viasat router on the property of the owner of the land, and they accidentally plugged in our Starlink to Viasat, which meant that we were out of the water. And now, thank you to Tara, she went up there this morning and put everything back the way it should be. So I think we're good right now. So we're going to give that a try and see how it goes. All right. So how are you all doing tonight? I want to say hello to Michael Hedrick, hello, and Sally Forth, hello there. Sam S, how you doing? Kevin O'Neill's with us. Hey, Kevin. And fellow space nuts, he says, yeah. Donald Kunzer's with us. Kathy Messick, how are you? Kathy's also the proud owner of a new telescope. Oh my. Why don't you tell us how it's working? Kathy, very anxious to hear. Very anxious. And also, I want to say hello to Stephen Smith, Mr. Django over in Belgium. It's nice to see you over there. And happy birthday to you. Wow. Very, very nice. I'm glad that you're joining us on your birthday. That's kind of cool. This star that we're looking at, as you can tell, is Antares, okay? Also known as 21 Scorpius, Alpha Sco, Vespertilio, and Kalb al-Akrab. So it's a very, very bright red supergiant star that if we put it where the sun was, would end up going all the way out past the orbit of Jupiter. It's a massive star, and that's spherical. You know, at the center, it goes either side out past the orbit of Jupiter. So that's a lot of star in that region of space, you know? Very, very big, big star. So it's good to have you with me tonight on this Friday night, and let's check out a few things. So we're going to, the moon is out right now, and if we look at our planetarium, zoom out a little bit, we can see that there's Sirius, there is Antares, and it is, of course, the eye of the scorpion, right? And over here is the moon. Now the moon is actually almost a first quarter moon, not quite, and let's just hope that we don't have to deal with it. So tonight is the only night, well, it's not the only night, it's going to be more to the east tomorrow. So it'll be right in the middle of our Milky Way tomorrow. We want to avoid that. So let's check out the Milky Way tonight. All right. I haven't seen the Lobster Nebula here in a long time, and I'd like to have us find it. So we're going to check it out. It's a little low, but we're going to try to see it anyway. So let's do that now. So the telescope is moving now, and you see the star is moving, and we should see a hint of the nebula here. And that looks like it right there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to move ourselves over a little bit. I'm going to move a little to the west right now. Okay. Oh, Starlink satellite's coming through. How do I know it's Starlink? I don't per se, but the chances are good because Starlink is dominating our skies now. Okay. So let's see what this actually looks like. And right now we're going to go into our search mode here to find a guide star. And by the way, we're that much closer now, that's this much, to converting this telescope right here, okay, from a fork mount to the same mount as the telescope in Benson, raising it higher in the observatory and make it have the ability to actually capture objects closer to the horizon, even though typically in astronomy we only observe from like 40 degrees up. But when I'm doing outreach astronomy, who cares? We're not going to do that. And I'm wearing my new astronomy shirt. See that? It's cool. All right, so let's actually let's do a 25-second photo here and see what we can capture. All right, so we're in our low light mode. We see a little fuzzy thing here, but I think there's a lot more in here to see. So let's pop out of this. All right, our low light mode, and you can see our. You can't really. Let me move this actually a little bit, make it a little easier. Let's go into our live stack. I'll change something for you so you can see the rest of the screen here. There we go. There we are. There you can see our progress bar. Okay, and now let's see. Yes, there we go. The beginnings of the Lobster Nebula. We'll color correct it, and there we are. And let's spread out the curve a little bit so we can do some micro adjustments. All right, there's the curve. Okay, so this beautiful curve, nebula is a little bit south. Now you can see the beauty in this, and we can actually kind of enhance this a little bit more like that. And because the moon's out, we have to color correct more often to make it proper. But this is the bright spot that we saw when we first looked at it, right? Neato. Hey, and look who's here. ERRT Radio. You know who that is? That's Ronald. Ronald has big news. Hello, Daisy and Zoe, by the way. And hello, Aurelio. How you doing? Aurelio Maraca. He's the actual... he's the curator of all that is UFO at the Danbury Library in Danbury, Connecticut. And he's a friend of Eric Idle. And I told him he wants me to speak on the 25th in October. And I suggested to him that maybe I could. But I think I think maybe if you have Eric Idle there, maybe I'll talk, Aurelio. Just kidding. I know he can't just tell him to come over. Anyway, satellite went through our Lobster Nebula. This is the Lobster Nebula, Aurelio, not Krypton. But anyway, going back to Ronald's news. Ronald has big news. Ronald sold his house in Minnesota. And guess what? Ronald now lives about 8 minutes from the Benson Observatory. He moved to Benson, Arizona. You know, Benson, Arizona, warm wind through my hair. You know, if you ever saw, what's the name of that movie? Oh my gosh. I'll think of it. Anyway, some of you know in the chat, I'm sure. Always look on the bright side of life. Yeah, that's right. I like the Galaxy song that Eric Idle sings. He comes out of the refrigerator in a pink suit and he's carrying a cane, and he sings to this house puppet, as they call him, or pepper pot, and sings about the galaxy and how fast we're moving through the universe. And it's actually pretty accurate. It's kind of fun. Dark Star. Thank you, Donald Kunzer. Thank you. Dark Star is that movie where they have intelligent bombs, and the bombs race around the universe with them in their ship, and they put the bombs in there to destroy stars to make way for other construction. It's kind of cool. Look at that. This is the let's see if we can name this nebula. Okay, it's also, that's called the War and Peace Nebula. And if we go into our thing here, let's see if I come zooming in here. The other name for it is the Lobster Nebula. You can see it right there. Why the Lobster Nebula? I can't tell you. It's also known as the War and Peace Nebula. Okay, so there it is. I'm going to save this just like this, but first I'm going to set the target to be this, and then I will save the image with the annotation so you can actually see this when you go here to skytourlive.org. You can check us out here. You can look at all the stuff that we take pictures of, and you can actually join us and take this down, download it. It's all good. All right, so let's see now. We're going to let this come in some more. We've got 9 frames. We're going to go to maybe 15 or 20. Ronald says, no smoking in my house. I was telling Mark where the smoking area is. Well, I don't smoke, so it doesn't matter. You know? Donald Kunzer says, crab was taken. And Aurelia says, Tarantino says Dark Star is a masterpiece. Yeah, it is. It's a very interesting masterpiece made for a low budget, almost nothing in movie standards. And it was hilarious. Imagine an intelligent bomb that has an existential crisis about whether it should blow something up. And that's the essence of the movie Dark Star. It's really hilarious. I won't tell you the last line in the movie. That was the best part. Okay, so let's keep looking at War and Peace Nebula here. Let's do a little bit more. The telescope's performing very, very nicely. We have our Starlink back on this telescope, and it really is nice. Okay, let's add some contrast. There we go. Okay, do a little more of this. Okay, so that said, I'm really pleased that you guys chose to spend some time with us on a Friday night. Nice to see you. Jessica S is with us. Hi there. Yeah, and how are you, Jessica? Good to see you. I'm still waiting to see Kathy Messick's response about how she likes the telescope that she bought. I gave her some ideas what to get, and I'm hoping that she is very, very excited about it. Okay, let me do one more thing while I'm here. I'm going to grab some items here that I need and just move something. Just a minute. Oh, I know where it is. Sorry. Okay. Doing something over here on my side here. Interesting. Just a minute. We're still waiting for this to come in. Oh, look, more satellites. We had one satellite here, one satellite there. They're just determined to ruin our view. Okay, let's see. Oh, let's see now. Let me, while we're waiting, I'm going to do one more little thing here. I also got a new microphone set up, so it's actually on a horizontal boom, not a vertical one. So it's not going to make any more noise and have the odd sounds that it makes, and I've got better quality. It's just an overall upgrade here that's unbelievably better than what it was. So I'm really happy about that. Okay, let's see. That's the email. That's this. But it's gotta be. I'm looking for something in particular, guys, so just give me a moment. Okay. Well, I won't waste time doing that. Okay. So, one thing I want to mention is that the Lobster Nebula, and let's talk about it a little bit more here, or the War and Peace Nebula. This nebula is just around 3,262 light years away. So it's a stellar nursery, and we can zoom in a little bit now that we have 19 frames. All right, you can see this beautiful core here. All right, this beautiful core of stuff in here. This is lighter than this over here, and that's because there's some dust mix in here. This is dark dust, right? You see these dark dust lanes in here. These are really interesting, and let's see if we can crack open a little bit more contrast in those. You can see it moves way out all over here. It's way bigger than the field of this telescope, and this field's telescope is 3 full moons across by 2 full moons tall. So this nebula is 3 full moons wide, all right, and 2 full moons tall. Now, if we were to look at the other scope, the one in Benson, our view would only be about like this. It's a much smaller view, so we get better resolution of a smaller area. And tonight we're doing some very large areas here. You know. Hello, Heinz Sherry. How are you? Nice to see you. Okay, so now I'm going to save this with 22 images. Save it exactly as seen. Now keep in mind, the skies are really nice tonight, and we're looking at a nebula that's really kind of low to the horizon right now. If we go back to our star map here, and we look over here, let's get rid of the equatorial coordinates. Let's go to these coordinates. We can see that we're actually about 21.3 degrees above the horizon, so that's not a lot. Now the Bearclaw is down here, and we can't really see the Bearclaw too well, although I think we have seen it. So I can try. So I'll do one more at 23. Actually, I'll do one more at 24. All right, and then save it exactly as seen as well. And then we'll get out of it and come back to our low light mode, which is this mode right here. Okay. And now what we'll do is we're just going to go south a little bit. And let's go to the Bearclaw and see if we can see it. It's going to just drop south. It might be a little close, but we'll give it a shot. There it is, right there. We may be just on the edge with this one, but the Bearclaw is a beautiful nebula. So we're gonna move a little bit to the west with this, like that. Yep. All right, Michael has to go. All right, we'll talk to you again. Okay, remember we're doing this with a nearly first quarter moon out, and it's not that far from here. So we're actually doing a pretty good job here. All right, we're gonna get these things to be over just a little more, and then we're going to do another 25-second shot here, and we are searching, as you can see right up there. Once we start getting numbers, we're guiding, and we are guiding. So let's get out of our low light mode and go into our live stack. And you'll notice when we go into our live stack, this is the last shot we took of the Lobster Nebula, and we're going to be going into the Bearclaw Nebula, and it will overwrite this Nido. So it's starting a new stack here in just a moment. I think you're gonna like this one. This one has it looks like a cat's paw too. There it is. Let's move this up a little bit. Okay, now let's color correct, and let's do an adjustment here. Okay, we're gonna clear that because we weren't quite good with that one. So we're gonna, the stars weren't perfectly round, in other words. All right, so we're doing this again, and we're at 200 gain. I think I told you that the most important values are the exposure and the gain. Gain is the sensitivity of the sensor that we're specifying, and the exposure is how long that sensor at that sensitivity will be exposed. Okay, so now we get that beautiful. You can see these bear paws. It's kind of cool. All right, and now you can see this will come out here in just a moment. We have one stacked. Now watch how better it gets when we do the two. We get the two, and it looks fantastic. A little better, I should say. Okay. So now, a lot of the noise is gone. The rule of thumb is you can cut the noise in half by doubling the number of exposures. So if you have one exposure and you go to 2, you cut the noise in half. If you have 20 exposures and you go to 40, you cut the noise of 20 exposures in half at 40. So you don't get this background staccato, static looking noise in here. That's not there if you do a lot of exposures. And we like to do a lot of exposures when we can. And right now, tonight, there's absolutely, look at that. There's no reason in the world that we should be worrying about clouds or anything, because we do have our all sky cam. Here it is, and you can see that the all sky cam is showing us the moon is just out of shot, but here's our Milky Way. These are reflections. Here's a satellite over here. The last exposure was taken at 8:28 and 50 seconds, and when the next one comes in, it'll show motion and or movement of objects in the sky. All right, so the line is short, meaning that this satellite's moving slowly, but it's fairly bright. to the camera anyway. We will check back. Yeah, we're getting a little movement here. This is probably due to some wind out there. Let's see where our filter is. Our filter our full width half maximum filter is okay. I wish we had a better view of this, but sometimes when they're down near the horizon, they're not quite as good. And it's hard to guide. This is also called the Cat's Paw Nebula, as you can see here. And we will set that target name. Alright, and we will also save the image with annotations. That means you get this image here that I'm about to show you. This is what comes in. Alright, and you're free to download it, check it out, enjoy it. Okay. So we've done that. So I'll go to 10 exposures on this. And then we're going to head up back into the upper Milky Way and check out some of the other things that are out here. I don't want to do the Rho-Ophiuchi Nebula complex, which is all over in Scorpius and Ophiuchus, because the moon is near it. And we won't get a very good view. So if I zoom out a little bit, you can see the moon is right here. And it's kind of right near where we have to go. Not that we're not near where we have to go right now, but with the Milky Way getting darker over our heads, this is going to be nice. So we're going to ride up the Milky Way. There's a lot of beautiful objects here to be seen. Again, this is the Cat's Paw Nebula, or the Bearclaw Nebula. You can see that it has a lot of really interesting details. One of those details is that this nebula shows us very dark dust in here. This is all dust, and the nebula is because of stars within the dust and the gas that are ionizing the hydrogen gas that's out here. Pretty cool. Alright, and that's 10 objects, so I'm going to save those. And then we'll save exactly as seen, so you can grab this PNG file. What I'm saving is the FITS file format. That's the astronomical format. If you load that file, it looks black, maybe a couple of bright stars. You say, well, that's nothing. But what you do is you go in and you actually you go into that file and you actually bring out the data, because you can bring out the data that's in there very easily if you know how to do image processing. And that's pretty cool. Alright, so we did 12, so we'll save that one more time. Save it exactly as seen. Yeah. Hi, Fantasy. Fantasy's joining us now. Yeah, Fantasy lives down in Arizona. Yeah, monsoon's breaking, I think, because the Sonoran telescope that we're using here is now clear. And there's actually not a cloud to the southwest of this telescope now. So I figured we would do this because the moon is going to be moving into the view over the course of the next day or two, and it's going to end up taking over our view of the Milky Way, so why not do it here? Let's do an over process to see what else is hiding in here. As you can see, there's a lot more stuff out here, as is the case with the universe. Okay, so we can drop out of this. We've saved it, and we'll go back to our low light mode, and here we are. So this low light mode shows us the nebula as it might appear in a telescope with an eyepiece. But let's go back to this now, and we're way down here in lower Scorpius. I'd like to actually show you something here. Let's do this. Okay, I'm gonna Let me zoom in here to get it right. Okay. Here it is. This little globular cluster is very important. I'll tell you why. We're going to head over there now. And you see the telescope moving up there. And I'll tell you why in a second as we get to it. Alright. Here it comes. Alright. The reason this is important is because this little globular cluster right there is right near a special spot in the galaxy. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. Well, less than that, because I'm going to take a 25-second shot of it. And once we start guiding, we should be guiding momentarily. So I'll just start this. And then I'm going to live stack it. Now, it'll be interesting to you because this is something you haven't actually seen. I haven't shown you this before. But it's a special place called Baades window. Baades window. A window through the galaxy means a area where there's very little dust and gas, and we can kind of see as close to the center of the galaxy as we can. And that is in this spot right over here, just here. And I'll do this properly, do that, and drop it down to be proper exposure. There we go. So this globular cluster, and just to the right of it, as you'll see here, I'll zoom in. Okay, we zoom, 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 zoom. Okay, we move in, and we zoom in even more. And what you'll notice is that there's this globular cluster, all right? And then Baades window, the area through which the least amount of stuff is visible, in other words, toward the center of the galaxy is through this little area right here. This is that window. There's nothing, we can see the deepest there. Now, it's not completely to the center, but it is the deepest to that point. So that's kind of interesting. All right. So this is Baades window. I don't know if it can be, if it's a named source. It looks like it is. Yeah, we can use the globular cluster, NGC 6522. Let me isolate it a little better. There we go. All right, and then just to the upper right is Baades window. So that's kind of cool, and I think that's really neat. All right, so this is the looking direction toward the center of our galaxy right there, just to the upper right of this little tiny globular. I mean, for all the world, it looks like I'm just fooling you and taking a picture of a wet driveway, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Okay, let me set the target name there and save the image with annotation and then save it. All right. Okay. So that's good. All right, and then we'll save it exactly as seen. Now, I'm not going to go crazy, but one thing that's interesting here is these are all stars you're looking at. All stars. Many light years in depth as well as, breadth across. Many light years. Particle 7's with us. What's going on, man? Hypothetical idea. What if a black hole has a Type 2 or 3 civilization spacecraft? Oh, what if a black hole is a Type 2 or 3 civilization spacecraft? Well, first of all, I have to define a Type 2 or 3. It'd probably be Type 4 on that scale. The scale that we're talking about there is the Kardashev scale. And it has to do with how efficient a civilization can utilize energy to technologically advance. We are not a Type 1 civilization. We are several hundred years from being able to utilize all the energy that impinges on the Earth from our sun. All right, we can't do that at this point. So that's what a Kardashev level 1 society would be. 2 means that they've managed to not only use the energy impinging on the Earth from the sun, but to actually use energy from off planet and grab energy that is beyond what the Earth can carry. It's and type 3 is beyond that, type 4 is beyond that, and basically you go further and further out. So a type 2 civilization will have conquered its solar system and maybe one nearby star. Type 3 civilization is definitely an interstellar civilization. Type 4 could be an intergalactic civilization. Yep. And Hein Sherry says, love the Aristocat's Paw Nebula. That's cute. Nicely done. Yeah, Aurelio says we're a type 0. Yeah, he's right. We are. We're a type 0 civilization. All right, let's save this and save it exactly as seen. The idea is to show you lots of cool stuff tonight. So we're going to do that. All right, so this upper right, again, toward the center of our galaxy, it's a window through dust and gas and stars, and that's the nearest. We can see the furthest toward the center of the galaxy in this direction. Not all the way, but furthest toward it. Okay, now what we'll do is go back to our low light mode here and check out the next item that we're going to look at. And that next item will be, we're going to zoom out here. We went through Bod's window there, and let's move up the Milky Way a little bit and find ourselves at this nebula known as Herschel 36, also known as the Lagoon Nebula. We're heading there now. We're going to be blasting through thousands of light years of Milky Way to get there. And then boom, can't miss it. Now, you'll wonder, why is it over to the right like this? That's intentional, and you'll see why in just a moment. Okay, because I want to show you what's going on over here. There's a whole nother thing going on over there. We have the Lagoon Nebula here. This is powered by this one tiny star right there. See that star? That is an O-type star. O-type stars are the hottest and the bluest, and they give off much of their radiation in the ultraviolet. So that means they're going to ionize lots and lots of gas around them, namely hydrogen gas and oxygen if it's there. So let's take a look at what that star can do. It looks like a little hourglass figure here next to it. And that's a extremely hot, highly irradiated region. Nothing can live in here, or probably all the way out here, because of this immense star that is just clobbering the gas around it. But we're going to do a 25-second shot now. Okay, and we're going to go from low light to stack. And we've dropped that down. So this is our previous shot, looking toward Bod's window again right here. And now we're waiting for our first shot of the Lagoon Nebula. Now remember what we just saw, and I want you to be ready for what you're about to see. So make sure you're sitting, because this is going to be gorgeous. This is the region of the Lagoon Nebula. Look at that. Now, it's not nearly done yet. Let me show you what it's really doing. If I get the colors corrected, and then let's move our black level curve off to the left like we normally do, so we can catch all the rest of the stuff in here. Look at this. And here's the Chinese Dragon Nebula over here. Okay, it's actually over here. So if I can move over a little bit, you can see it over here. Right, it's all one big massive complex. Isn't that beautiful? Absolutely stunning. And let's drop this down here just for a moment. You can see we got a little bit of wind out there, but not bad. We also, you notice we don't have any spiders in here anymore. Tara cleaned all the, Tara and her sister Kelly cleaned all the spider webs away, which is kind of unfortunate. I might want to have a little, I'm going to have the weather station in there that was donated to us by Cosmic Ray, and it's going to be able to tell us the weather on site, and most importantly, the wind speed. That's cool. Fantasy says one of the most favorite things to do is to look at the Milky Way with binoculars. It'll change your life if you've never done it. Yeah, it's actually true. You know, it's amazing what you can see with a typical small pair of binoculars. Really, really fantastic. There's a lot going on in here. We only have 4 stacked, but let's zoom in a little bit. Yeah, we got a little wind. I hate to do this to you, but I'm going to clear it because I would like to actually have this guide perfectly. Our Benson telescope is a higher focal length, and that means it's a higher magnification, and it takes pictures that are really good. And we're going to convert this telescope to actually take pictures just as good as that one. Alright, that's reasonably round. Notice how grainy this looks? Alright, down here, after we get to the end of that, right there, that second one, that second photo, watch how, again, the noise gets cut in half. Alright, so watch now, all the noise in here is going to get cut in half. Ready? Watch now, here it comes. Look at that. Now the noise has been cut in half, and things are more detailed with just two photos that are stacked. Not bad. Okay, let me, here we go. And the music up too loud. Steven, Mr. Django, says, a beautiful one, Mark. Yeah, it's a gorgeous nebula. Wish I could take credit for it. You can also see this hot O star that's causing all this illumination in here. There is some oxygen in here that's getting ionized, doubly ionized. Let's zoom out a little bit more now to check out the entire region. Okay. Okay, so there it is. Let's bring our mid-level in to catch more detail. Look at all these beautiful wisps down here. Isn't that gorgeous? That's what this telescope is good at. It's good at looking at all of the very large, expansive nebulae that are out in the regions like this, all over the place. So when we have a small object, the Benson telescope is our friend. When we have a large object like this, a distended object as we say, then we look at it with this telescope because it's a wide field and shows us such a big difference. It's really amazing. Okay. 5 shots taken. I will save this. That was a bad idea. I didn't mean to save that. That was saved it to the wrong location. So what I gotta do is we're gonna do our Lagoon Nebula here. We're gonna set the target name. It's gonna complain, and I'm gonna say yes. It's gonna say I couldn't do it, and that's okay. So now I'll save it again. First of all, I'll save the image with annotations. Then we'll read what it saves. It's in the Lagoon Nebula folder. That's good. Okay. So now we can get rid of this annotation here. Now we'll save it. And there it is. Now it's in our Lagoon Nebula. And we'll save it exactly as seen. Absolutely. Alright. I had my Thai tea. That's Thai earlier. Now I'm just having water. Holy cow. What do you think, huh? And now you'll notice something else. Now that we're catching more frames, we have 8 now. Look at this beautiful little area right here. It's a nebula that is dust that is reflecting starlight nearby, and ionization as well of hydrogen gas. So you get this reddish bluish thing here. It's really pretty, you know. And if I move further to the left, we'll see more detail in here. It's out here by all this stuff. But we'll go from here now in a little bit. We've got 10 of these, which is nice. And we're going to go from the Lagoon Nebula over to the Trifid Nebula because it shows such a beautiful, stunning color contrast between the red and the blue. So we're going to come here now and go over to right nearby to the Trifid Nebula. We're looking at these things now because the moon will be here in our Milky Way, and it won't be very easy to look at until the next lunar cycle or near the other side of the cycle. Okay, so here we go. We're moving to the Trifid Nebula now, and let's go to low light mode. All right, and here it comes. There it is. Yes, sirree. That's beautiful. And let's see if it knows it, and then I can actually, yes it does. So I'm going to take the Trifid Nebula here, which is M20, and let's see what it does here. Yeah, there we go, and I'll center it. Now it'll center it in our view. And then, there we go. Alright, nice. And now what we can do is get rid of this for now. And this will now be here. So, it doesn't look like much. But, now that we're here, we're searching for our guide stars. You can see right up there. Okay. And here we go, we're guiding. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do a 25-second photo here. So you notice I do it 25 seconds. That's about all you need for this telescope, because this telescope is running so fast that photographically that a short exposure to the light brings in tons of light. And that's the conversion we made to this telescope to make it operate so much nicer. All right, so down here behind the Asterian Foundation support banner I put in there, you can see that, and we're about to see the Trifid Nebula now. I guess I should have live stacked that. That would have been nice, but you can see that it wasn't guiding too well there actually. Alright, so we're gonna guide again. Let me go to our full width f maximum filter and see what we're doing here. That's way up there. Let's go. Yeah, now you'll notice that the stars are elongated. I'm not sure. We gotta fight the wind, so we gotta clear this and get this again. The wind comes and goes out at the Sonoran site, so it's kind of tough. But once we start getting a good shot, then we'll only keep good shots. Okay, once again, did it. Let me see here. Let's do this. I'm going to do one little thing here. I'm going to increase a rate. And let's see if that does something. Alright, we'll clear it. I'm also about to pull the trigger on a new piece of equipment for the Benson Observatory, and that's a spectrograph. I've told you about it before, but I'm about to pull the trigger on it and get that. Yeah, I did that on purpose. That I had moved the telescope a little bit. Actually, kind of pretty. Kind of reminds you of the matrix of nebulae. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Wow. Actually, I almost want to save that, but nah. It looks like Christmas nebulae with tinsel. All right, let's see what this looks like. Oh, no, still doing its thing. So let's go back. And try again. Let's try. Go down to 20 here. All right. Do this again. It's weird because the Trifid Nebula has historically been one that gives us a surprisingly a large amount of trouble, but with Benson it's gorgeous. It doesn't have a problem. When we convert to the other mount, it'll be fine too. Yeah, look at that. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't know why it has such issues. Alright, let's try one more time. And if that doesn't work, we'll move on. Oh sure, see? You heard me, didn't you? You heard me. You heard me. Now you're okay. Alright. Let's see if the second one comes in good or if I have to unstack it. Yeah, don't have to. But notice, look how much better it looks already. You can see this beautiful coloring. This is just gorgeous. It really is beautiful. It really is beautiful. Oh, that's not what I want. I want this. That's better. Yeah, so we're actually guiding very well right now. This is a stunning one. And what I'll do now is Sally Forth, I did not save the streaky one, no. But I can recreate it. Alright, so let's go here one more time and do our M20 Trifid Nebula target name. Alright. And save image with annotations. Save the image with all this stuff in it so you know what's where. Okay, actually, I think I got to move that a little. There we go. Save the image with annotations again. And now, come out of here. Save it. Okay, the FITS file, the astronomical file format has been saved. Now we'll save it exactly as seen. Not bad. This is not looking bad. I'm not even doing any enhancements. I am. Maybe I am. Yeah, I'm not. Now watch this. Watch this change. Watch this. Boom. Even so, it gets even better. And then let's actually add a mask to sharpen it just a little bit. And now look at how much more detail is in here, guys. Wow. Now it's looking a little bit softer yet sharper. And this is what the color noise reduction does. And it's what the unsharp mask does when you use it just at a low level like I'm doing. Not bad. Look at that. Yeah. And if we zoom out, you can see the rest of the nebulae in this area. And not quite yet, but when I do this, you'll be able to see it. Watch this. I'm going to pull this over here. Okay. And pull this back a little bit. Watch this. Look at all the red in here. This is really, really amazing. I'm going to color correct it too. That may help us. Yep. Now you can see all the red all throughout here. All this ionized hydrogen is in here. And we can now kind of bring that color contrast out by doing this. Start riding up that black curve. Isn't that amazing? And all this dark dust is the leftover remnants of supernovae and supergiant red stars that were sloughing off their outer layers. It's incredible. Star Traveler 29, how you doing? You know? Yeah, this blue is not O3, which is a doubly ionized oxygen. This is actually a pure reflection nebula, or to be more proper about it, a scattering nebula. It's the starlight that's being scattered. The blue component of the starlight in the spectrum of the star is being scattered by small dust particles, which you see here as the dark areas. All right, this is all dust here, and the blue component is being scattered. And if we do a color correction, it should probably show that a little better. But this isn't the teal. This isn't supposed to be like a teal blue like O3. It's more of a blue, like a true scattering reflection nebula, as they call them. But you can see it's really beautiful. Remember, this is in 3D, so that's probably a big ball of ionized hydrogen in this whole region, and this stuff goes all the way around the whole nebula, if you notice. In fact, if we do this, we can really over process and start to see. And if I do, see that? So now you can see the blue goes all the way out here. It's just crazy. There's so much blue here. Really neat stuff. Yep. I will show you some O3 though shortly. The teal green, which is really, really pretty. All right, so we have 13 frames. We're going to go to 15 and then move on. And next we're going to go to an object a little further up. We have the Sagittarius star cloud, the small Sagittarius star cloud. I'm not sure we'll do that because it's actually so dense that it looks to you like you're looking at a it looks to you like you're looking at a wet driveway. It really does. It really does. But we'll go to the Omega Nebula next, riding up the Milky Way here, and then go to the Eagle Nebula afterwards. Then we'll ride up into Cygnus and check out a few things up there. Cygnus the Swan. If anyone has any ideas what they'd like to see, stick it right in the chat and we can do it. Okay, there's 15. So we'll save this here. Save it exactly as seen. Not a bad shot. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, and that's the Trifid Nebula. These three prominent lobes are actually up here in the foreground. And the ionized hydrogen is back here in the background, if you can see me down the lower left. So this ionized hydrogen is being eclipsed by these dark lanes in the foreground that actually get in the way of you seeing the nebula behind it. Yes, sirree. Mr. Django says, damn, that's beautiful. It is. Proficient, thank you. It says that looks amazing. It is pretty good. It's pretty good, there's no doubt. All right, and since I waited long enough, I can get the 17th one. And we will now save exactly as seen. Okay. So, what I was telling you before. When we have 16 shots, all right, we have half as much noise as if we had only 8 shots. All right. So with 17 shots, we have half as much noise as when we had 8.5 shots, basically. Okay, now 9 shots. So we have half the noise that we'd have it with 9 photos. And you can see how nice this looks. I gotta save it again. I want all the latest and greatest. And we'll save exactly a scene and get out of here before I start to do more. Okay, so there we are. And now let's come back to our 1 second view. Now, if you guys find this to be valuable, I would really love to have you stick around. Make sure you subscribe. You can check out our Patreon if you want to join us and support us up there at the top here. Okay, you can see our Etsy store, Sky Tour Shop. All right, and on Sky Tour Shop, objects that we take photos of are highly processed and put on things like mugs and shirts and things. And beyond that, we have fleece blankets up there with giant nebulae on them. They're just stunning. I couldn't believe how beautiful they look. Lamps, shoes, boxer briefs. I mean, yes, it's crazy. All right, but I just want to, popularize astronomy as best I can. All right. So now let's go back here, and now we're going to be going up to the Omega Nebula. This is a nebula, by the way, that I have often went by and said, no big deal. Wasn't too excited about it. And then I started to see it in a new light because I took a deeper photograph of it. And when I took deeper photographs, I was astonished with how much detail is actually in here. Okay, we're going to move over. Move a little west, young man. Center it up. And you'll see why I'm centering it up in just a moment. Because it's going to actually take up a lot of space around here. This is a stellar nursery, an area where stars are being born. And we're searching for a guide star now. And I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a 25-second, can go figure, photograph of it. And then we'll get out of our low light mode and go into our deep sky mode. Okay. And here we go. Oops. Okay. All right. And we are 11 seconds from seeing the first Omega Nebula image. Nice. And here we come. Omega Nebula coming right up. And boom. Now, I always do corrections as I'm doing these just to make sure that they look really good. This one here looks like my stars wandered a little bit, so I'm going to clear that. May not have been guiding as good as we should have. Let's see what happens. If this one comes in the same way, I'm going to make another change. That's perfect. Great. So I'll zoom out just to show you what we're looking at overall in this region. Check that out. This is the Omega Nebula. Now the Benson scope shows like this small area, and that's really, really pretty. And we'll see that again as we get our Benson scope back. The Benson scope is doing just fine, but the roof roll-off mechanism has broken down, and it's going to be repaired this Sunday. Yeah, I was rolling the roof off the other night, and it just failed and was like part way off. And I couldn't, of course, leave the telescope like that. So thanks to Glenn, who lives in Benson, he went over to our observatory and took the initiative. And he got our chain back online on the line aligned with the sprocket for driving the roof off. And I was able to put the roof back on, and that's where I left it. I didn't want to mess with it before oh, look at that, it's beautiful. All that red nebula here. I didn't want to mess with it because the technician Frank was going to be up there. Frank's a good guy. He knows what he's doing with the garage type setup that we're using. Imagine a garage door on the roof instead of like opening like from the front. So on the roof, you don't need springs and stuff. You can just roll that roof right off the whole building. I thought that was so interesting to do it that way. Okay, this is the Omega Nebula. Let's yep. Also known as the Swan, also known as the check mark. It's also known as the Lobster Nebula, which is crazy, but that's true. Okay, now let's save the image with annotations. There we go. Thanks, Fantasy, for putting up the link to the Patreon. That's very nice. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, let's color correct here and get it more correct. There we go. So now we can zoom in a little. And now I want to show you something here. You look at this particular nebula, and can you see how this dark area here is up here in front of you, and that this object here, this large expansive cloud of ionized hydrogen, is behind it? Can you see that? This isn't a break. This is sitting in front of you, and that large ovalish cloud right here is behind it. So from our vantage point, this dark cloud is between us and the rest of the nebula. Pretty cool, huh? And because we have a lot of dynamic range, we can actually drop the brightness down so we can see details in here. So if something is, well, we say oversaturated, it doesn't have to stay that way. Wow. I'm very happy with this image. It's beautiful. Guiding seems to be okay. We'll go to 10 images here. And you'll notice that all of our images are coming in tonight, which is really nice. Save exactly as seen. There we go. And that is the Omega Nebula. Okay. Now, moving right along. And by the way, if these are not lost to you because they're up at skytourlive.org. You can go find them all up there. Alright, so now we're right here. What you're going to do is you're going to go to skytourlive.org, scroll down a little bit, and you're going to come to a part of the page that says, Take me to cool images, and there'll be instructions on what to do. We're still trying to get the app done. It works, but it's tough getting it published because the company that we want to publish with, they seem like they're not as easy to work with. But we'll see. Okay, so now let's come back here. There we are, and now I'm going to take us to. Not that one. Yeah, that one. Sharpless 246. Yeah, we're going to just check out Sharpless 246 briefly. Sharpless is another catalog of beautiful nebulae. Now, I don't see it here. Usually we would see it if it's bright enough. And that's because it's not bright enough. So I could pull out detail in there, but rather than do that, let's do something fun, and let's do the pillars of creation. Alright? I'm trying to pack in as much stuff as we can. So pillars of creation next. Telescope's moving up, and you'll see the target crosshairs moving up to the Eagle Nebula, which are the pillars of creation. There they are. And while we're here, I'm going to do one thing. I am going to do a focus run, because I haven't, and I should. Okay. And now let's do a quick focus run. Those are all the stars that we can capture. I'm going to go one more positive run. We'll get less stars. Yeah. And then I'm going to go negative. Let's see how this works. So now we're going to focus down and grab the perfect focal spot. It's going to make a focus curve that looks like a parabola. And the vertex of the parabola, the lowest spot, means the smallest image for a star that's being focused. So you'll see this parabola develop here down below, right there. So go ahead, keep watching. All right, we'll wait for it to develop here. It's getting close. Okay. Now what I'll do is, while we're waiting, I'll just move this down here where it should go. Right about there, so you can see the telescope. Okay, like that. Alrighty. So here's our curve, and in a moment we should see a vertical line, there it is, appear here. That's the point of perfect focus, and the telescope is at best focus. That's the point, so I'm going to tell the telescope to go to that point, and you'll see that it will go there. It's going to move right into the middle, and you'll notice that the stars are going to be perfectly focused here. All right, and there's a lag, but then you'll notice we get a lot of stars. We have 150 stars that are now sampled here. All right, so we're good. So now, if we move a little bit westward at this point, we'll be able to see this set of the pillars of creation in a way that you can only see with a wide field system like this. Now, what's nice is the Benson telescope shows us just the core, right? And this one shows us all around, and there's a lot going on out here. So we're searching for a guide star, and while we're doing that, we're going to set up our shot. We'll do 25 seconds again. I really don't have to go more than that, you know. So we're going to let this stabilize a little longer. So it's going to stabilize, and once it's stable, we will then come out of low light mode and jump right into that deep sky mode, and the previous shot will be there. It is the Omega Nebula that we saw from before, and we're shooting the nebula known as the Eagle Nebula, or the Pillars of Creation. All right, and that is the famous Hubble shot that you see all the time. Well, you'll see it in just a moment. But this is really what it looks like to our telescopes. Look at that. Here are the pillars, right there. Now we got one shot that we took. Now I want to zoom in and show you how grainy it looks now. Okay, but now with the second shot, watch what we get. All right, second shot is 4, 3, 2, 1, and pow! Watch. Okay, now you notice that look at that. Now it has been it's much better just with the two shots. It's been subdued. You don't see the noise anymore. But these are the pillars you're looking at right here, guys. Right there, those are our pillars of creation. Michael Hendricks asking for 3i Atlas. I actually took a photo the other night of 3i Atlas. It's really faint, and so this telescope is not the one we can photograph 3i Atlas with. The Benson telescope, I took a picture, and it's just barely there. It was a small dash amid solid stars in the Sagittarius Milky Way when I photographed it. It's now in Ophiuchus. So it's Libra rather, and it's going to be in Ophiuchus soon. So it's going to be still in our sky, but it's definitely a faint object. If you look at my Facebook, you'll see a post I did of 3i Atlas, basically just slamming all the jerks who tried to say it's an alien invasion coming and all that garbage, trying to get clicks. You know, and no, Avi Loeb at Harvard did not say it's an alien invasion or an alien spaceship. He's saying that its trajectory is interesting because had we decided to probe a distant solar system, we might try to have it go by the planets in the solar system that we knew of, including Jupiter, Mars, and Venus. But he didn't say that it was actually an alien craft. He said there's a possibility it might be, and that's not untrue. And so people slam him for being brave enough to go out there and talk about it. I don't. I think he's great. And you guys know I've worked with him before on programs, television programs. He's a good guy. So now let's zoom out and look at the extent of those pillars of creation. Now, tell me this doesn't look like a bird looking straight at you with its outstretched wings. Now, that's not the eagle. And look at the tail down here. That's definitely not the eagle as envisioned. But that's what I see. The eagle is actually in here. You know, I see this and say, hey, there's a head with a beak looking at us. Here's a wing. Okay. And here is the tail down here and the talons. Here's the other wing. I mean, that's what I see. But that's not what the classic Eagle Nebula is. Or if it is, I haven't paid attention to that. Okay, we have 9 here. And we're going to get our 10th. Let's see how we're doing on our full width half maximum filter. Yep, all in. Excellent. No rejects. That means we're guiding very well. Okay. Michael Hedrick says he left Facebook. Okay, fine. Yeah, 3i Atlas is looking very much like 2i Borisov. Borisov was a comet. Now, 3i Atlas has more water than Borisov did, but it's also larger than... I think it's larger. I gotta remember this now. Might be smaller. I forgot, sorry. But Borisov was a solid interstellar comet, and Oumuamua was a solid interstellar object that came roaring through. Could it have been a solar sailing space probe? Yes, it could have. And that's what's interesting about it. We think maybe it was or could have been. We're not saying it was, but because it's gone, we can't see it now. But this one is coming closer, and in October it'll be as close as it gets to us. All right. Which is still going to be many millions of miles away. Yep. Yeah, Michael, we missed having you around too. Michael up above says, it's so awesome that Ron lives so close to the telescope now. Yeah, but we're not letting him go in. No way. He's laughing right now because he's watching. So the pillars of creation you see now are starting to really take shape. We've got 14 images. Let's zoom in now and see what we got. You'll look at the pillars now. A lot more detail in here now. Look at that. And in our Benson scope, this is about the view we have with very high resolution. So this telescope is meant for these kinds of views, looking at things from a wide angle view. And that's good. That's what it's for. Let's check this out now. And let's grab that. Take our Eagle Nebula and set that as a target name. Save this with annotations. And now it's in our directory to be uploaded. That'll be up there within 30 seconds. 16 images. Let's save. That astronomical file is up there, and now we will save the ping. And this is what you get when you go look at this ping, which you'll get to look at. This is what you'll see. This right here, and you can download that for free. So you get all these neat pictures that we take for free if you like. I'm just nutty that way. Okay. 17, we're gonna save and save. Okay, so that'll be up there at skytourlive.org right here. And let's go back to our low light mode. And I want to do something now. I want to kind of jump up higher in the Milky Way. All the way up through Aquila, the Eagle. And I want to come up in here to Cygnus the Swan. And you'll notice that Cygnus is almost at the zenith. It's almost straight up. And that means that when we look at this object next, it's going to be as good as it can be. Alright, and you'll see which one I'm talking about in just a moment. First, we got 6823 there, but we're going to be looking here at the Dumbbell Nebula, because I promised you a look at an O3 doubly ionized oxygen nebula. That's the one. You watch the telescope go way up looking in the sky now. Here it goes. And we just see a fuzzy hourglass shape show up here in our view. There it is. It's over there on the right. Right there. That's our fuzzy hourglass of the Dumbbell Nebula. And it's moving a little bit, but we're going to move it a lot of bit. Here it comes. Oh yes. Okay. Alright, we'll center it up. In the Benson scope, this is this big basically. It's a square format. It's about this big. So it actually has a much larger format and resolution in Benson. And you know, usually what we do is we take pictures of the same thing with both scope. When Benson's up and running again, and I get our roof fixed Sunday, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to actually do that. Alright, because we love doing that. Alright, this is going to be another 25-second photo, and you'll see that this is going to be actually almost too much. Alright, so we're going to go into our low light live stack mode, and we are guiding right now. And this is the Pillars of Creation that we took earlier, and it will be overlaid by the Dumbbell Nebula when it comes in. Let's see if we have to get rid of it, because I might have been moving the scope a little bit. Oh, no, it's good. Okay, so what we're going to do is pull this dark level all the way to over here to the left, so we can actually see the subtlety. And we're going to color correct so the space is more black. And now what we're going to do is we're going to pull this mid-level way down, because I want you to see the neutron star, I'm sorry, the white dwarf in the middle. There it is. Alright, so let's zoom in. Okay, in the middle is a white dwarf that's actually giving off a lot of ultraviolet energy. It's not fusing anymore. And what we're looking at is oxygen, which is this teal color, and hydrogen and neon, which is the red color. Hydrogen is the predominant color, is red, and the oxygen, which is doubly ionized. 2 electrons are excited off the atom and then come back. When they come back to the atom, that's when they give off light. So hydrogen atoms have only 1 electron. When it bounces off the atom, when it gains ultraviolet energy, it hits other things out around the atom and then falls back into the atom. And when it falls back into the atom, it actually gives off a red light, predominantly red light. And so we see that. So 4 images taken so far and stacked. Now that means we're making an image sandwich of our images to get rid of the noise. They're aligned with each other, and that gets rid of a lot of our noise. This is beautiful. Sally Forth says, I see an angel or fairy in the middle. Are you talking about the previous image of the pillars of creation, Sally? Very good, Michael. That's a neat thing. Neat observation. Little robots. Projecting nebulae. I like that. So this white dwarf is probably, there's different types of white dwarfs. Okay. And this one's probably a carbon-oxygen white dwarf. We might expect a similar one with our sun, maybe. We have captured 7 frames so far. Yeah, Sally was talking about the Pillars of Creation image, the Eagle Nebula, when she made her observation about seeing a angel or fairy in the middle. Actually, in the M16 there, to the left of the pillars, there is a feature that is called the fairy. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so the Dumbbell Nebula, this was not a supernova or a nova. What this was a star that as it got older, it swelled into a red giant and started to pulsate. And pulsate as it started to find new nuclear fuels to fuse in those shells around that core. And it pushed off the outer layers because the star got so big that the outer layers were no longer gravitationally bound. Right? And they kind of floated away and moved outward, and a lot of it was this oxygen and a lot of it was this hydrogen. Okay, the shape is characteristic of a star that might have been spinning. It might have been spinning in this direction, so kind of on a side, spinning like this. All right, and this means that these wider equatorial regions were pushed outward more, and maybe the shape is due to the fact that it's doing this like a spinning, wobbling top. Something that I think is probably something we should investigate with a dumbbell for real. Okay, so that's neat. Now it's in space by itself. Look at that, it's sitting out there. But when we look at it, it's really gorgeous, really pretty. All right, so we are, let's get it labeled. M27 is the Dumbbell Nebula. We're going to set that target name and save the image with this annotation. And there it is. And then we come out of here. And let's now save the 13 shots. There we go, and save exactly as seen. All right, cool. All right, so now, for the last image of the evening, I've saved the best for last. We're going to look at something that I think you're going to really like. And it's an example of a supernova remnant. The remnant left by a star that has exploded. And that's pretty cool. And we're going to look at what's known as the Eastern Veil Nebula. All right. So as we go there, you'll see the telescope is going to swing up toward the northeast a little more. And let's see this. Okay, what I want to do now is put that right in the middle of our view. So I'm going to actually get it there now. So it's going to move a little bit. There we are. And this is what we're looking for right here. Okay, so we're going to actually move that down a little bit so you can see the bottom of it as well. Right. There we go, moving it down. The top end's about here. All right, a little more. And then you're going to see perhaps the most beautiful object besides the Orion Nebula in the northern hemisphere, and that's this object right here. It's one half of an exploding supernova that's going out in all directions, toward you, away from you, and in a spherical cloud of debris from a source that is in the middle of this. Okay, so let's zoom out a little more. Okay, we're just about doing that. I got to move it up a little bit more just to grab the rest of the bottom. Okay, that looks like it. All right. And now we're going to be doing a search. I'm going to move a little bit to the east, actually, to move it this way a little more. Tiny bit, not much. Okay, that's enough. All right, and now we will do a 25-second shot again. It's incredible. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Same nebula channel. Okay, and now 25-second shot underway of the final object for the evening, which is known as the Eastern Veil Nebula remnant. That's the remaining one from the previous object. The Measure 27, the Dumbbell Nebula, the planetary that sloughed off its outer layers, the star that sloughed off its outer layers, ended up shrinking back to a white dwarf. Look at that. Wow, that's pretty. Yeah, that is the Eastern Veil. And let's actually color correct it. And now that made the colors richer. And now let's actually bring this in more. Kaboom. Look at that. Isn't that something? Now, I couldn't show you the whole thing up top. It's just a little bit more of this. But down here is really interesting, so I want to show you that. So what we can do is this. We can come down here. Show you the bottom of this beautiful nebula. Look at that. Wow. Let's move this up. Darken it up. There we go. Look at that. So this is the greenish blue of the doubly ionized oxygen. Hello, Prow. And then the red is the hydrogen gas. And this is, again, this is the eastern side. There's a western side, and there's a front and a back, basically. It's a shell expanding outward. This here that you're looking at could be a shell like this, you know, kind of curving around a little bit, which explains its thickness. This is actually an element of a spherical outward moving shock front. Pretty cool. Beautiful, beautiful. And then we can pull this in a little more, and we get even better detail. Look at that. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. This is the beautiful Eastern Veil Nebula. I'm anxious Sunday to get our Benson system fixed, because when you look at this with the Benson system, you close in on really nice details. You can see all the special details in these filaments. And you're still looking at something that's many light years in length. Hey James Dugan, how you doing? How are you? Otto, how you doing? Yeah, so let's let's actually generate our target name here. Eastern Veil Network Nebula. Yeah, that works. Okay. We'll save the annotation, the image of the annotations, and then we'll come out, and we have 8 images. We'll start saving now. Thanks, James. James says, going great. Great, Mark. Good to see you online. Yeah. The only reason we've been offline, James, is because at this July and August in Arizona, where the observatories are, is the summer monsoon. So we get rain a lot out there. So I have to sit there and go, pull my hair out. I can't stand it. I literally can't stand it to wait. I want to start streaming again, because I just want to see these objects. Is anyone watching who may have remembered the very first time we looked at this object? It was the first time I saw it. It was here in my front lawn when I had an actual observatory dome out there. And it was the telescope that's behind me that you can't see. But boy, oh boy, that was really something. I don't think anyone remembers. Okay, we're going to do a dozen of these. It's really pretty. Very nice. And this, once again, we got all of our imagery here. Not a single failure tonight, which is great. Alright, so we'll save it. And save it exactly as seen. Fantasy says the coloration is unique. That teal and pink. Yeah, the teal, doubly ionized oxygen like we talked about, and the pinkish red, that's ionized hydrogen. Now what's interesting is, as this thing is moving outward, it's not moving out into a vacuum. It's moving out into a bunch of other dust in this region. So as it collides with that dust, it heats up tremendously, up to 1,000,000 degrees. So it ionizes the gas that it's pushing along with it. Some of that gas is in the neighborhood, and some of that gas is being created by the supernova when it first went off. So it's really something else. So we're going to get 15 shots here, and then we're going to move to one last object. I know, I said this was the last object. I lied. You know me. I'm just one more D'Antonio. Okay, so we're going to save this exactly as seen. Here we go. Alright, gosh, that's beautiful. Oh yeah, that's really pretty. I mean, let's just zoom in for a moment. Look at this object. Such a beautiful object. Crazy gorgeous. Crazy gorgeous object. Okay, and now we will pop out of that. Go into our low light mode again. And do this. There it is. You see that? The wind is actually moving the telescope here. Alright, so let's do one more object if we can. I would like to go to an object that is right up near the top here. The zenith, almost looking straight up. Because if we go there, it's going to be the best view, looking through the least amount of air, roughly. But it's this guy right here, so it's going to be like over 80 degrees in altitude. So that's pretty cool. So let's go, and hopefully telescope will be looking straight up, and we should see the nebula come in here, known as the Crescent Nebula. There it is right there. And it readjusted, and then we're going to move it up into the field more. Okay. Too much. I can bring it back down a little notch. That's good. All right. This one we're going to do a 30-second photo, because we want to go about 5 more seconds, because we want to pull in some of the faint details that I know was there that you may not know was there. Okay, so here we go. First things first, let's go into our live stack mode and drop out of our, that's our deep sky mode, and drop out of our low light mode. Okay. So we've dropped out of the low light mode, and we're now going to do this from scratch. We're looking straight up now, almost straight up. And so this is cool. Now watch. We're about 10 seconds from seeing the image of the Crescent Nebula. And the Crescent Nebula represents a different type of object. It's an object where my face is blurred. No, it's an object where the star is extremely hot, and it looks like we weren't guiding properly because of the wind. So I gotta do this again. The star that you saw kind of briefly in the middle there, that one bright star is something called a Wolf-Rayet star. Now, Wolf-Rayet stars have a very characteristically strong stellar wind. They push out their protons and electrons from the plasma in their outer envelopes at high speeds. Okay, so this is a much better view. That's the star right there. This star is doing an incredible amount of something called mass loss. It's shooting a giant amount of itself out into space, And in so doing, that wind is so powerful, it's blowing the outer layers of the star off with it. Now you might say, well, why isn't it a sphere? Why is it kind of like a weird shape? That's because as it's pushing out, it's getting resistance because it's piling up other stuff around it. There's a lot of dust in this region. So it's piling up a lot of dust around it. So it's trying to push through it, but it can't really push through it as well because there's a lot of stuff obstructing it and blocking it. And that, of course, also causes the temperature to rise. The Wolf-Rayet stars are amongst the hottest stars you can have in the universe. This star might be 200,000 Kelvin, which is an extremely high temperature. It's roughly slightly more than 200,000 Celsius. Not a low temperature at all. Let's add some more color. So now when we pull out, you can actually see the extent of the other nebula in this region. Look at that. There's some here, there's all throughout here. It's absolutely incredible. And if we were to drop this down, this is our mid-level. We can drop this way down, and you'll see how the image drops out to a very soft image. In other words, noise-free. So early on in our images, we can actually leave this down low and pull it up higher and higher as our image gets better and better. But because we're doing this one last image, I can do it this way and let it just accumulate more frames to get rid of the noise. So now you're seeing this whitish stuff in here because we're doing a 30-second exposure. And this is actually showing us all of the other material in here and spectra of objects in here. We see the hydrogen, we see the oxygen 3, we see other white dust that's actually reflecting starlight directly. We also see combinations of other elements in here. This is beautiful. This is the Crescent Nebula, as I said, and the Crescent is a Wolf-Rayet star pushing out most of its outer core, or most of its outer envelope, and the only thing left is the core of the star, and that's this. Now, there's one thing about these types of stars you need to know. Wolf-Rayet stars like this, although they're the hottest type of star in the universe there is, they also, when they go into this mode, or they become Wolf-Rayet stars, the star's destiny is to obliterate itself in a massive supernova explosion. It's really something. Really something. There's 8 frames. I'm going to, first of all, identify this region, and then I will make it the target. Crescent Nebula is there. Nice. Okay. Then we'll save the image with annotations. There we go. And then back out and save. And save exactly as seen. Then when we get to our 10th frame, we'll do that final save. So I hope you guys found this fun tonight. I really enjoyed having you along for company. Really cool to be with you. I don't think there's anybody I forgot to say hi to in the chat, but if there is, I'm sorry. Oh, C&D boy, yeah, I didn't say hi to you. Okay. And there's our 10th frame. All right. Excellent. All right, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I wanted to do this. This night was also a final test for the back to observing status for the Sonoran scope after we had a bunch of problems for the last month with it. But it's been resolved now thanks to Tara. She went out there and fixed it with her sister Kelly for the final time this morning, and it's performing very admirably. I'm very, very impressed. So now that I'm here, I'll just go to 12. Right? I've often wondered what the quality of the image would be if I didn't just say do 12 but did say 120. You know, like, what would I do if I just left it photographing all night long and picked it up before it actually got to dawn, you know? Okay. I don't know. Wow, I'm tired, I guess. Okay, and then I will save this exactly as seen. Okay. And there is our beautiful nebula. Excellent. Wow. Well, there you go. There you have at it. Now we can... It'll be all up there on the server at skytourlive.org in about 30 seconds. And you can all enjoy it and take it down. So I hope you guys had a good time tonight. I know it's kind of short, but I wanted to race through all this and get it out of the way, because I'll be doing the same thing, I think, when Benson's up and running on Sunday night. But we'll see. In any case, I want you guys to have a good night, and then I will talk to you the very next time. And if you guys have any questions, you can reach me at contactskytour@gmail.com, or you can ask me questions through skytourlive.org. Join us. Enjoy our Patreon. Maybe subscribe to our Patreon. Help us and support us. And I will see you guys the very next time we stream, alright? Good night, everybody.
Stars so bright in the sky, on Arizona nights they fly. Nebulae in colors rare, galaxies beyond compare. Sky tour in the night so clear, brings the universe near. Real-time wonders to see, streaming light for you and me. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views. Every night feels brand new. In the dark, the night unfolds, stories of the cosmos told. Through the lens, a distant dream, living real like a gleam. Far away, up so high, across the stars beyond the skull. Through the lens, a distant dream, living real like a gleam. Lift your eye up so high, across the stars beyond the sky. Sky tour shows us the way, every night a new display. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views. Every night feels brand new. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views. Every night feels brand